Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to our session, a snapshot session today. Seems to have started a little bit late, but as always, let's review the calendar, what we're expecting today, and look at the charts. So today, the 17th, this is what we have. Today, the 17th. This is what we have. So early in the morning, very early actually, how the New Zealand released the CPI data quarter on quarter, and came up much lower, as you can see from the data. So this data here kind of triggered the weakness in New Zealand. Right now, if you look at New Zealand dollar, it's been on a strong downward move. Go check New Zealand dollar. So let me not use this one. New Zealand yen, in this case, New Zealand dollar as well. You can see it's on a strong downward move. NZD, USD, New Zealand USD as well. If you check today's trend, I have some period separators here. Yeah, so looking at the period separators, you can see that New Zealand dollar is New Zealand to the dollar. We have a strong downtrend to the downside. This seems to be instigated by this event, which came up at 12:45, right, which shows a lower than expected CPI data. In this case, we have a sell-off of the New Zealand against the USD. Again, at around the same time at night, Australian dollar, we had the monetary policy meetings, right, that might have caused quite some moves when you look at the Australian dollar versus the US. So you're able to find that one on the lower time frames. So you can see the price has still remained held in between this level, right? Mostly because of traders waiting to see what comes up with the US events later in the afternoon. For the pound, average earnings came up much worse, 8.1 against the 8.3 expected. And at around 9 a.m., again, that one really influenced the pound. If you look across the pound currencies, specifically on GBP USD or pound USD, let me look at it. You have a strong downward move as well. So GBP USD, GBP JPY. So where is it? GBP USD here. If we look at that, strong downward move. This is coming after the price has tested this key area around this level. See at that point, price has not been able to go past this level. There's actual around 1.22157 is on GBP USD. Okay, for the past couple of days, and with the release of the events which came up with a lower or disappointing events with the GBP, then you can see that drop. So the same case with euro, but euro doesn't seem to have been affected much, because if you look at euro USD, yes, we have a little bit of a downward move, especially like that during this London session that we're still in, right? A little bit of a push to the downside, but you can see we're having the price pulling back again to the upside, still because there's a little bit of similarity with the pound USD. You can see that the price is still held at this resistance level here at around 1.0. 0.055, let's say 1.06, 0.056, if I'm not wrong, 1.056 level. That is the area that the price faces challenge. And if it's able to break beyond this level, then we're likely to see a further upside to the daily zone that we have here. And this daily zone is really important because you see previously it's been a support, right? And now that might be the next challenge. If the price is able to break beyond this 4-hour, this 1-hour level, which we have here, and if you check on the left, it seems to have kind of a gap, right? There was a strong rally to a strong fall here, and then seems to leave some gap, which if, for example, the price breaks past this area, this might be a motivation for the price to push up, filling these levels as it's targeting the higher points there. So that's for the Euro USD. But alternatively, for the GBP USD, seems we had a strong downward move because of the events which came up at around 9, where you had poor or lower results for the average earnings on pound. Later today in the afternoon at 3:30 from the West, that is Canada and US, we've got quite a ton of data coming up. CPI for Canada and core retail sales for the US. So for the CPI, it's just an indication of the inflation levels, yeah. And when it comes up, it's likely to move the Canadian dollar. For the US, looking at the core retail sales and the retail sales month on month as well. Coming up today in the afternoon, then later 4:15 US Industrial Park. So for me, I have filtered out the low impact. So just remaining with the medium and the high impact, because this is what is likely to cause a higher impact in the market. So looking at this data for the Canadian CPI, we're in all cases, we're expecting a decrease, right? If you look at month on month, expecting a decrease from 0.4 to 0.1. Still median CPI year on year 4.1 to 4.0, 3.9 to 3.8. Again, so generally the Canadians are expecting a lower reading on the inflation number, yeah, consumer price index. So let's wait and see what happens. If that number actually comes even lower than this, then it means it's going to be a weakness on Canadian dollar. On the side of US, we're looking at the retail sales month on month, still an expectation of a lower number, expected to tick lower for the retail sales, core retail sales month on month from 0.6 to 0.2, retail sales month on month, again, expecting a decrease of 0.3%. So if this number comes lower, then of course, there is the reaction which comes immediately with the release of the numbers. If it comes lower, then it means that it's going to affect the dollar negatively. So you might have a fast drop of the dollar, right? But then if you look at the likelihood of inflation, because again, these retail sales, if it's decreasing, then of course it means that the people are feeling the pressure of the inflation, which is there already. So they might have a different interpretation depending on the side that you decide to look at. If you look on the side of inflation, then it means the lower retail sales means there is shrinking on that side. So it's then likely to keep the Feds going to influence the Feds to sit on their hands when it comes to raising or further accelerating the rate, because it means there's pressure on the economy already. Right, so let's jump onto the charts. This is what we're expecting for today. So let's jump onto the chart and see what we can read from it. For the pound currencies, just like I had mentioned before, let's put them together here and try to see. So for the GBP JPY on the daily perspective, we've been on a long stretch of uptrend. Price seems to have been capped or to have been gotten a support around the 179, 180 level. So if the price remains well strong above this area, then we're looking at a likelihood of the price testing the highs of around the highs over time of around 186. But for that level to be reached, then we need to break this 183 level. That's on a daily view. But looking at a lower time frame, then we have zones that the price is playing around. So right now, it's not much clear trend on a lower time frame, more of consolidation. But if the price is able to break past these zones, then you're likely to find the direction for the day trade for today. You're on a long-term view, then you ought to be on these higher time frames. If you check on weekly, it seems that we're forming more of strong resistance from the upside, right? And on a weekly view, if you're looking to hold your trades, or for the long-term view, if you want to see where you might be going to, it's a strong uptrend, yes, but we have a strong level which, once it was broken, gave way to this upside move. But you see here we have like head, shoulders kind of forming. So if the price clears this support to the downside, that one is a long-term view. If it clears to the downside, then the target area might be around this 172. But for now, for the ones who are looking for short-term trades, then going back to 4 hours, you need to wait and see how the price clears the daily level yesterday. If it breaks to the upside, then probably targeting the highs that we have there around that level. If it keeps to the downside, then of course you have the price held around this support here. That might be the short-term target in this case. As for the GBP, JPY, and with the weakness on the pound, which came up earlier today, then we had this big bear around this point, but seems to be pulling back up again. So want to wait and see the formations which builds up during the day. For the pound USD, almost a similar scenario, because there's a similarity or a little bit of correlation in these currencies. This area has held strongly since the beginning of the week, you can see. And that's where we got the big drop from with the news came up. Long-term view for this one, from the weekly perspective, the price seems to have shied off on the strong rally which was there, gotten some resistance or got capped on this moving average that we have here. So if the price keeps on with this downward momentum, then of course we have a level to clear here, right? This zone to clear here. And if that side is clear, then the target might be all the way to the lows, which we had a couple of months ago, actually last year, where we had the pound almost going to parity with US. But that's a long journey to go. Remember, that's a long-term view. Short-term perspective, we ought to look at the key levels where the price has played previously. That since this support was cleared and the price broke quite aggressively to the downside, it has almost turned, or it's actually turned to be the resistance level at this area here. And we had a strong bear push to the downside. So if the weakness on the side of on the British side remains, then we're more of looking for a further downside, right? So waiting to see how how the price action moves. But if the price clears these lows that we have here, that stretches back to the beginning of the week, or the last week rather, then you might maybe look for a further target downside here, but you want to wait for the price to wait for the price action to give you some clarity on this level. For Euro Pound, On the daily, this one seems to be in a lot of consolidation here, but still we are dealing with a level. Look at that level you're dealing with about this area. So the price breaks beyond that area, then you're looking for a possible push to the upside. If it falls back even below this moving average, might be targeting the zone down here, right? Remember, this is a daily perspective, so it's a very big zone we're talking about. On the 4 hours, things can be a little bit clear, right? You see that? Yeah, this way. So for the short-term view, we need to break below this area for a further downside, right? And right now seems to have started that upward move. I think the weakness is what is causing this one, cause of course having a sell-off of the pound and then euro getting a little bit stronger. That's why you have this move up. So if this one maintains, then the target might be around this high that we have here. But again, look at the price action for confirmations of your entries. New Zealand USD, we can okay, let's look at the weekly perspective. If we just insert a simple trend here, so it can help us with the view. Seems you're on a downtrend, a very clear downtrend from on a weekly perspective. 2 touches yesterday, actually today, right? No, 2 touches since February, and the price has always rejected this level. Seems this downward trend stands strongly, and the fundamentals today, actually, with the weakness of the New Zealand, supports this downward move. You can see the strong bear candles that we have here. So if you're looking for a short, in the long term, it's a downtrend, all the way maybe to these levels that we had here. Remember, high time frame lows are key areas that you want to note as you're trading. So these levels might be the target in the long term if this downtrend prevails. And again, you might want to observe these areas here, support turning into resistance, and this is supported by the downtrend which we have. So moving to the lower time frames, then if you're looking for a short-term trade, and again considering the weakness which we have seen on the New Zealand side, attributed to the lower CPI data, right? This one, you might want to keep an eye on a possibility of this level breaking, because the price has brought that event has brought the price all the way to key low points, which has been there, this support area. So if the price breaks past this area, then you have a likely bearish move, likelihood of a bearish move. But again, if it bounces around this area, you can see the levels that we're playing around. So key levels are important when you're looking for your short-term trades. But in the long term, the wider trend is here. We're bearish. Gold, looking at daily, since the price exited this daily channel, which was existing since October, then of course it's again shifting to a little bit of downward trend that we've witnessed over the last couple of months. Let me remove this. So right now, if we look much closer, or if you just look at the long-term view, the gold, of course, has been held on an uptrend, but there are 3 rejections that we have. And all these rejections, remember, they are attained during the time when we had crisis, right? Or a little bit of a crisis comes up and the price pushes all the way up. This one was during the time of COVID, right? Pushed the price all the way to 2080, 2070. Yeah, around 2050, 60. And then the onset of the Ukrainian Russian war again pushed the price all the way up here, right? No, this one was around, let's look at this 2022, 2023. So all these levels have been sparred by times of uncertainty, times of crisis. So we have these levels which have not been broken. So on a long-term view, the price on gold has held at around the highest of 2072, right? 2072. And I think this is the highest we've had recently. So in the short term, we have something brewing in the Middle East. Of course, we have the Hamas and the Israeli war. So right now, we might not know what is likely to unfold. But if you try to compare gold, the movement of gold and the dollar index, seems to have some kind of disconnect. And this one might be because of the risk kind of the risk environment, which is not really full blown. That's what might have pushed gold all the way up here, but it's holding at the 1923 level. Seems the movements in dollar are not yet influencing gold as much because of the cloud of uncertainty around whether that crisis is going to be full blown or not really full blown, and that's on the side of fundamentals with gold. But looking at this chart here, what we see is as the price got tested these three levels here, three tops, price pushed the downside, a little bit of a channel here that has been broken. Now price seems to be pushing on something like a downward channel with the gold. And with the crisis and the current state of affairs, then we are looking at a possible maybe break of this channel to the upside, right? This level to the upside. That is what might give traders stronger confirmations for bullish moves, right? Or if it feels around this area, which as well seems to be might have acted as a key area previously, then the price might keep on pushing lower. Although it's good to note that gold touched the weekly lows. That's why we had a strong bounce to the upside, right? Strong bounce to the upside seems to have failed to get any reaction from the daily levels at that area. So this one now turns to be of no significance. But then with the current levels where the price is, if it breaks past this area to the upside, looking for a further push, maybe to target, I don't know, that level. So have to observe the key levels where the price is likely to hit, maybe moving all the way to the 2000s. And if it breaks there, then moving all the way to the ups of 2050s. And this one might be fueled with the likelihood of the crisis on the Middle East becoming much bigger. But again, we have to wait and see what happens. For short-term trades, then look at how the price behaves along these zones that we have, specifically on that kind of downward channel that we can see in this. So if it fails beyond that area, then further push the downside. That's when it's going to rely again on how the fundamentals come up, especially on the core retail sales, right? On the what else do you look at? On the side of indices or stocks, let's look at Nasdaq. So with the Nasdaq, on a daily perspective, again, let's insert a trend just to show us how things have been going. We can as well decide to look at the key levels in the markets. So looking at this, usually the indices tends to be after a pullback, then tends to rise back again on a rally. And with the pullback which came up during the times of the COVID, then you have the price has pushed all the way to around 70% of the recovery. Okay, if you look at this one, we seems to have had around 70, almost 80% recovery on that negative impact which we had during that time. All right. So right now around 78.6, and the price is just almost hit the highs that we had of 1670s. So currently at that point, we never know what happens. If panic sets in again, of course, because right now globally, when panic sets in, then we have a very negative effect on the stock. So let's see what happens as we move forward. But that's the picture that we have currently. So it's near all times high. And looking at that perspective, then here you have some kind of a channel forming. The price is caught up between these downward channel currently on the upper part. So if it breaks beyond that part, if we go by the technical, then we might be eyeing the all-time highs that we had previously. So let's keep watching that. But again, if the price gets caught or gets resistance, strong resistance around that level, then we're looking for a push down, maybe to the lower levels here. The short term, that's what we want to keep on looking at, right? For possible entries during the day or day trades. All right. And that's that for me today, unless if you have any questions from your side. Hey, Edwin, hey, Caspar, I'm the one who's supposed to host and I'm here. Any questions you have? Any questions? Right, then, if there are no questions from your end, we'll have quite a session at that point, but take note of the events which are coming up and what has happened previously with the New Zealand pound, Australian dollar, and euro. But then let's wait and see on how the events unfold with what is coming up, with the news updates coming up from the West for the USD and the Canadian dollar. So wish you a successful trading day. See you.